And the Oscar goes to...
And the Oscar goes to...
And the Oscar goes to...
Slumdog Millionaire.
An American in Paris.
Platoon. Birdman.
This has been India's dream forever. मतलब हमने विलेज रॉक स्टार्स बनाई है, हमने न्यूटन बनाई है, मदर इंडिया बनाई है और लगान को कैसे भूल सकते हैं। फिर भी एक भी इंडियन फिल्म आज तक ऑस्कर नहीं जीत पाई है। इन सारी फिल्म्स ने ना ही सिर्फ नेशनल अवार्ड्स जीते हैं बट हैव आल्सो ट्रैवल्ड टू द बेस्ट ऑफ इंटरनेशनल फिल्म फेस्टिवल्स। तो फिर प्रॉब्लम क्या है? Are we sending the wrong films to the Oscars?
I think it is important to send the right kind of film. We don't send the right kind of film.
That's Aparna Sen, a veteran actress and filmmaker who has headed the Indian jury to select India's Oscar entry.
One of the reasons is that a jury comprises people and certain human beings, and they all have different tastes. So it's impossible to tell who is going to like what.
I don't think India is doing any different or better or worse than any other country, because at the end of the day, a selection committee is a selection committee.
Being mentioned in Forbes India 2021, Dheer Momaya, a millennial producer and filmmaker, has recently produced the last show that won the Audience Award at the Tribeca Film Festival.
What they decide to send is based on their own opinion of the film.
And we may feel that we were not represented or India was not represented right.
A selection committee known as Film Federation of India decides कि कौन सी Indian film official Oscar entry होगी. But what we want to know is how is it decided?
The selection committee for India's entry to the Oscar is a varied range of people. You have they select people from all the different disciplines of the cinematic art form. So I know one of the criteria that they pick, they try to understand whether the film is wholly original, whether even the India selection committee, they try to put themselves in the shoes of the voting members from the academy to try to imagine what they would like to watch from an Indian film.
I headed the Oscar jury, which was held in Calcutta this time. So I have some idea. The film needs to have either won a whole lot of festival awards for the jury to even be interested to see it. Secondly, the producer has to spend a lot of money. It should not come across as a mainstream film. As I said, it should not come across as a formula film. It should have something really original about it. And yet it should not be something that is depressing or going over your heads. I think ultimately it needs to have a feel-good feeling at the end.
जब Gully Boy 2019 में Oscars गई थी, तब Aparna Sen was one of the key jury members to choose it. बट उस टाइम बहुत लोगों को लगा था कि गली बॉय वॉज टू मेन स्ट्रीम फॉर ऑस्कर्स. फिल्म एंथुसियास्ट्स वर इन सपोर्ट ऑफ द क्रिटिकली अक्लेम्ड तमिल फीचर सुपर डीलक्स. फिर भी गली बॉय को प्रायोरिटी क्यों मिली ओवर सुपर डीलक्स?
We all felt that Gully Boy talked about a boy who lived in the slums. I mean, I've never seen anything so original in Indian films before. So I think that film also stood a chance, and they went neck and neck for a long time. Except that I think Gully Boy basically, the audiences voted for Gully Boy mostly because the film, first of all, the length was a manageable kind of length. And also because producer, distributors and all that, they had deep pockets which would be able to publicize the film. That's very, very important. What they have to do is it is very important that they believe in their product. We know it's a good film, but we don't send it to festivals. We don't publicize it. So there's no point in sending a film which will not be publicized, you know.
From here on, filmmakers को पूरे एक साल तक ऑस्कर कैंपेनिंग करनी पड़ती है, जिसमें हर प्रोड्यूसर को हॉलीवुड में स्क्रीनिंग्स करनी होती हैं to be able to reach as many Academy voting members as possible. Because these screenings can cost more than 74 lakh rupees. और न्यूटन, विलेज रॉक स्टार या जलीकट्टू जैसे स्मॉल बजट फिल्म्स के लिए ये कर पाना नामुमकिन है.
That's the way the setup is. A lot of other countries, like for example Denmark, I know this year won the Oscar for Another Round, and once Another Round became Denmark's entry to the Oscar, the Denmark government straight put $1 million and gave the filmmakers and producers $1 million to make sure that they can campaign at the Oscar and campaign in LA quite well, to make sure they can have these screenings and make sure that they get these powerful voting members of the Academy to these screenings to make sure it gets through all the way till the top 5 nomination and then eventually to win it. Parasite, on the other hand, apparently spend $12 million, which is equivalent to the budget of the film. So they were able to have that vision and say, even though the budget of the film is $12 million, we'll put another 12 just to make sure we can get every single voting member of the Academy to watch the film, love it, and vote for it and own it. So that is a really interesting part of the process that sometimes we forget, sometimes we as filmmakers forget as the most essential part of the process.
इंडिया का lack of financial support तो हमेशा से ही problematic रहा है, but things seems to be changing for the better as mainstream actors अब अच्छी scripts को priority देने लगे हैं और producers भी उन scripts में invest करने के लिए eager हैं. Yet, India remains where it was 20 years ago. Are we missing out on some of the Oscar-worthy elements while making these films? Because when films based on Indian narratives are produced internationally, उन्होंने Oscars जीते हैं. May it be Slumdog Millionaire or the documentary period End of a Sentence.
So India is basically seen as a country which has a lot of rural and urban poverty, all right? But in the midst of this poverty, that people can be happy that they can, carve out some happiness for themselves. That kind of thing, I think, works.
I feel like today, most films that are good films, what we call good films, like a Newton or like a Village Rockstar, these are films made by independent producers. As independent producers, we spend most of our money that we have, budgets that we raise from independent financiers or from film funds or from international co-productions or whatever that may be. We take all that money and all that money goes into production of the film, because it's not like we're raising $10 million where we can put $8 million into production, $2 million into PN, marketing and all of that. The only people who can do that are Bollywood films. We need to start picking stronger scripts, stronger themes, more realistic, authentic themes that can have global appeal over just the fluffy Bollywood stuff, which also is important, which also I love watching and making. But there has to be a balance that's brought in that selection process. And I think that would help us, compete on a larger scale.